Hello everyone, I'm Emily. Welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Today I'm going to be doing a speed build for a Rainforest Café on my island. There's actually a real restaurant called the Rainforest Café, and so I definitely took some inspiration from it for this build. I've got quite a decorating heavy build today, so I'm not sure how much terraforming I'm going to end up doing, but definitely make sure to stick around until the end of the video because I'll do a final walkthrough and show you what I ended up producing. So I'm just starting off by having a look into the area that I want to create my build, and a really good first thing to do on any type of building is to lay down the pathway. I'm going to use the in-game dark dirt path today. I like it because it really contrasts with the custom design path that you can see I've been using a lot on my island, just because it's so much deeper in colour. And I'm just having a little play around to see how big I want this area to be. I actually made it slightly wider, but I went back and reduced it because it was gonna kind of be a bit lopsided if I did it that way, so I did go back and get rid of some of those squares that you can see. But then I'm just creating a nice big block of path so that I know how much space I have to place down my items. So now that my space has been all sorted out, I run over to my house to grab out some different items. To be fair, I normally just play around with a whole bunch of furniture, placing down different pieces until I figure out what works. I'm starting out by picking some items which have a lot of nice natural browns and just some quite calming tones, because I want it to look like you have just been walking through a rainforest and then you stumble upon this cafe. So I want it to look quite nice and things that you could find, nothing that looks too man-made. I'm also taking quite a bit of a bamboo furniture because that is one of my favourite furniture series in the game, as well as a few butterfly models which are just so pretty and they work really well in pretty much any build, just because they add that nice little pop of life to it. And I actually ended up filling my pocket space perfectly, which was so pleasing. So then I'm running on back to my area so that I can start playing around with some items. There's a lot of builds nearby. I have a couple of villager houses, so something which I went ahead and did was use simple panels to kind of section off my building. You can see me doing that right here, and the simple panels, I've used a custom design on them which is super viney looking. I found this just by typing in vines into the portal in the Able Sisters, and the simple panels really do work well for separating it out. They look a little bit like walls, so I think that looked nice. I tried out the bamboo bench, but it was a little bit big than I wanted, so I used the bamboo stool instead, and then I just placed some of the log stools next to it to create a little table and chair looking area. Right here you can see me placing down another set of simple panels, so I did have to move my table area over to the left, but that was fine, and I think this helped add some depth because the two simple panels in the front are pulled forward slightly, which gives some levels to the build. I really like the mismatch of colours that the bamboo stools and the benches have, because it kind of gives that idea that it hasn't been thought out too much. The colours are just lying all over the place. We can see that in the log stools that they have different tones of brown. Then what I'm doing right here is placing together 2 of the bamboo benches to create a much bigger looking table. And I actually started out by using the Turkey Day chairs as well as the log stools in this area, to kind of make it look like the restaurant has a whole bunch of different seats and spaces that people could sit in. And it did look quite cute with these different colours, but I wasn't completely in love with how the Turkey Day chairs looked, as there was such a big height difference between them and the log stools. So I actually came back into my seating area in the back here, and I put the Turkey Day chairs with those, and then brought the log stools forward to use on my 4x4 table. This worked a lot nicer because it looked a bit more balanced, because then all of the chairs were the same height. And right here I put the hole there so that I could remember that I wanted to use a shrub, because this would add a nice pop of colour. The red camellias are some of my favourite shrubs in the game. I think they have such a pretty and vibrant colour. I really like to use custom designs underneath my builds. Whenever I'm placing down furniture, if it has a custom design under it, just adds a bit more depth. And this grass code looks so nice and pretty, just really natural. And it kind of makes it look like it's a very overgrown section of my island. You know, nobody's taken the time to go and cut back all of this grass. And yeah, I did have a bit of trouble getting some of the items to place down. You just have to remember that I was using this to film on my PC, and there was definitely a bit of a lag between the controllers. And I actually only noticed this in editing, but the golden balloon flew past me during this. I don't know if anybody saw it, but at the bottom of the screen, the golden balloon went past and I just completely didn't see it. And it really did break my heart a little bit when I noticed that, because I would have loved to have that golden slingshot recipe, but I guess we'll just wait for it to respawn. And I actually changed out some of these grass paths, and I used one of these really cute little images of the paw prints. I love this so much. It's very dainty and it just gives the idea that one of my villagers has maybe come through and been exploring throughout this section. And then I'm just quickly moving down my table area because it was actually a little bit higher than where I wanted it to be. I love this little lily kind of flower code so much. It really does look very natural to me, so I've been using that a lot for certain areas. If you use it too much, it's not so effective, but I do really like how it looks just once in a while into a new area. didn't really have an item to go onto this part of the bench. I did try the amphibian plant, but I think it looked a bit too big and bulky. Not as cute as it could have been. But the butterfly model that I put on this stall looks so cute, and I really like that idea that one of the seats has been taken by a butterfly. I wanted something to go behind this, but a lot of the smaller items would have been hidden, so this mush lamp worked so nicely because there's a really nice difference in height between the lamp and the shrub, and so this ended up looking so cute. I was very pleased with how that looked. What I'm doing right here is I'm digging out some holes to remind myself where I want to put flowers. I didn't actually have any flowers in my pockets, but I just was trying to think where it would work so that I would remember that it was a good idea to put some things there. I did try placing a shrub behind this, but I actually ended up realising that the turkey day chair then didn't really fit. So unfortunately I had to dig that shrub straight back up and move it back a tile, so that my turkey day chair would fit properly. And I honestly think that that little area is so charming, very cute looking. Then I wanted to place some trees. I did think about using the bamboo trees, but I was wanted to do something that looked a little bit more tropical, so I decided to place palm trees. So what you can see me doing here is just using one tile of the sand pathing, which will allow you to place a palm tree in game. You can see me going up onto my beach past Bluebear's house to go and dig up some trees. I did have to steal some coconuts off of one of them so that I could dig up for trees instead of having to cut them down. What I realised here though was that if I would place the palm trees down right then, I wouldn't have had enough space to really decorate into that little extra gap on the right, so I went to grab the items that I would use to decorate that first. I absolutely love the barbed wire fencing. It's so sweet looking, and it's quite unusual. I feel like I don't see that many islands that use it. And my beach is absolutely covered in flowers, so I'm running to go and grab some flowers, but I did get distracted by my villagers because they were having a camp out and it was so cute. So I've used this paper tiger, and I know that it's not a food item, but I do think it looks stunning. Plus the expression on its face is so funny, it makes me laugh every single time. And that just detail made me really happy. I think it looked very sweet. I'm using the pansy flower and then coming in with one piece of my fencing. I do like to normally just use one piece of fencing at a time instead of using a whole bunch at once, because I think just that individual piece gives a little bit more of the idea that it's in ruins. Maybe there was a whole fence there but it's fallen down, and it helps add to the idea that this is a really old rainforest that's been destroyed over time. And I actually ended up using a lot of pansies in this build, even though they're not really my favourite type of flower, so I normally don't use them that much. But you can see, I think I used a good 3 or 4 pansies in the end of this build. I'm adding in some stones as well as a couple more paw prints. I was going to place a flower here, but then I realised it would be quite hidden by that tree, so instead I popped down an extra flower space. And then you can see I'm just taking my time figuring out where else I can put flowers so that this ends up being really nice and full of life. I went to grab out a weed. The weeds are really cute and they add a nice touch of greenery and again really do help with that overgrown look. And I honestly think that this was looking so cute. The area is very nearly finished at this point. My finishing touch was actually just to place an umbrella. It is quite hidden behind this tree, but I honestly think that that's cute because it means that you'll kind of stumble upon it. If you happen to look that way, you get to see it. I'm going to take you on to the next day so that we can have a proper look through of the final design. And I am in love with how this area turned out. So much colour, so much vibrancy, a lot of flowers, a lot of engaging items, a nice space to sit and look. Thank you so much for watching. I'm very pleased. I hope you guys liked how this area turned out too. Feel free to like this video and leave a comment if you enjoyed and subscribe so that you don't miss my next video.